Hello, Karen here. Soul Symbols, Astrology and Tarot. Here to give you a tarot reading for the weekend. So I'm sticking to the theme that we had on Wednesday, and I'll connect that video up there if you haven't seen it. So we're going to stick with the elementals. Go with what intuitively pulls you, okay? So pole number 1 is the fire element. I'm going to read on the fire element. So that's the south, okay? Directionally. Then pile 2 is the air energy, and that's the east, pile 2. Pile 3 is the water energy. Okay, so that's the west, directionally the west. And pile number 4 is earth, and that is north. Okay, all right, I'll leave you to have a look and then choose your card, and the timestamps will be below. Hello, pile number 1, fire energy. I am going to, first of all, pull you an oracle card to kind of have a signifier card for our fire. Okay, one sec. Quick little thing about our fire. Okay, so as I said, the fire is the south. It's the energy of the south. So it kind of denotes our wildness. But the other things fire symbolizes is action, passion, compulsion, can be sometimes obsession, energy and enthusiasm, creativity, motivation, vision, and our flashes of insight. Okay. And the fire forges our will and determination. And it does that by purifying things down to their essence. So the fire can burn us sometimes, but it's only to bring out the purity. In alchemy, it's turning the lead into gold. The fire is used to do that, to heat it. So it's a source of energy, fire, if we're working, with the elements. It's a source of energy that requires careful moderation and control. You need boundaries around it. If you build a fire when you're camping, you need to put your stones around it. Indoors, or if we've got a fire blazing in the hearth, we have grates. So it's that kind of careful looking after the fire so it doesn't burn out, or it doesn't go wild and burn everything up. It consumes, because that's what it does. That's what it's there for, consumes. But it gives us light and warmth. It's a transformative element. Okay, so I'm going to pull you a card from this oracle deck. This is the Earthcraft oracle, and although we're having fire, the elements are contained in every, oh wow, they're contained in every. That is so fiery. Look at that. Warrior woman. Couldn't get more. Is it Aris, the goddess? Yeah, it's the warrior woman. So here she is with her fiery hair, her bows, her bows ready. Not her bows, her arrows ready. Yeah, she's got that red heart. So it's that sense of, it's often, and people don't equate it to this, but often the warrior woman comes from someone who is an empath or full of empathy, if you don't like that word. But she is someone who has transmuted her shadows. Okay, she's got through that kind of, the warrior comes out in us, doesn't it? When we've been put down, squashed down, we rise up, we become the warrior. So often an empath, someone with a lot of sensitivity, okay, she fights for what's right, what's truthful, for beauty. She fights to protect the vulnerable. She is a beautiful archetype, the warrior. And you can think of, you know, loads in pop culture about the warrior woman. But she is there to protect, to uphold the truth, to do what is right for her family, for her clan. And I mean, it can be a warrior as in a man, it doesn't necessarily, but this is the feminine warrior energy. It is Venus when she rises as a morning star. She becomes that kind of warrior archetype, Venus. So you've got the love, the harmony, the beauty, the relationship, the nurture, you know, you've got all that, but it's also about the protection of that. So if we look at our fires, we've got the action there, we've got the passion. I mean, her heart's passionate, and clearly she looks like she's got energy and enthusiasm. We got the sun behind her, you know, fiery sun. We're in, you know, we're in a Leo new moon. We're just entering into, and soon it'll be Leo. So no, it is Leo. Sorry, my brain's gone. So, you know, she's got that determination, and she's got light and warmth there. You can see it all. So all that fiery element is in there. So we're going to be talking about some of those things. It may be that you need to embody that warrior archetype. You need to be pushing through to have that warrior archetype. Maybe that, you know, you need to stand up more for yourself and stand strong and stand in your warrior woman energy. Okay, I'm going to have a look with the tarot. We got the Starman tarot here. I love it because it's very, I find the imagery on this really fiery, really vibrant. Yeah, David Bowie's artist apparently has done this deck. So let's have a look at what. Well, yeah, okay. So we got the eight. Oops, we got the Eight of Cups there, and we've got the Moon there. We got our feminine energy, but it's water, okay. And we got the warrior man there, the King of Wands. So he's fire. That's kind of that sense of mastery, isn't it? And we got the sacred clown, which is the Fool. So I'm actually looking at these cards. So this Eight of Cups, you know, that is the one in the Rider-Waite, the Eight of Cups, where he's walking away in the moonlight, in fact. So he's been on, you know, it's kind of a bit of a dark path. It's that getting your emotions. He has the Eight Cups stacked on top of one another. So a sense of he's been through that, kind of started his journey, you know, like that heroic journey. And he's walking in the darkness. He's crossed the water. So I'm thinking perhaps you've had that sense. I mean, if you look at the card here, it's a very chaotic energy in a sense. You know, it's looking like yeah, it's actually first decan of Pisces, this card, the Eight of Cups. So if you are Pisces energy, your water energy, yeah, this fire is tapping into, you know, your kind of opposite, your opposite element. So we have that Eight of Cups. So you've been on a journey, you have walked a journey, you have, if we go through the cups, you know, there's loss there. We got the Five of Cups with that loss, and with that Eight of Cups, you have the five on the bottom and a three put on top of it. So there's that sense of that eight and that three, that kind of, the three denotes to me that creativity of the eight. So there's that sense of being able to move on from emotional difficulty, and perhaps that is by igniting that warrior woman, that warrior archetype in you. So if you've had a lot of emotional difficulty or you've been under emotional pressure, there's that sense of that anger, that passion, that sense of injustice, whatever it is, can rise up that warrior woman archetype. You can plug into that energetic, that fiery energetic, okay? And our second card is the moon. So this is really reflective, it's the flow of energy. It can be what is hidden. Perhaps something has come up that has previously been hidden and it's caused a lot of emotional turmoil. Or perhaps you've just been doing your soul work, you've been going down trying to kindle your flame, your passion, your vision. And it's become a little bit frustrating, or you're just in the midst of it, it's going well, but you've been dealing with things like the unconscious. I mean, yeah, it's a reflective energy. So have a look what has been reflecting in you, what has been showing up in your life. Could be, with water, it's relationship, it's that our feelings, it's that flow, ebb and flow. Perhaps the things you've been working on have been frustrating or they haven't come the way you want them to. And there's a sense of losing that flow, losing that motivation. I mean, the fire energy is the sun, it's that vitality, isn't it? The moon energy is the water energy. It's, you can see the reflectiveness now. It's more kind of receptive, inner. The fire energy is very masculine, young. It's outward, it's active, it's doing. This is receiving, okay? So it's looking like you have received those things. You've received what you need to know. You've received the energy from the moon, in the ebb and flow of your daily life. And then you have the sacred clown. Okay. So this is the Fool, but what I love about this card is again, it's like if we hold it with this warrior woman. I mean, it's just the energy of those colours, isn't it? And behind him, it looks like the sun to me, that looks like sun energy, vitality. But with this sacred clown, the Fool, it isn't, a lot of people read it like taking a risk. I mean, it can be that, but this is often the point of infinite potentiality. It is a zero. Excuse me. It's a zero. So it's that point of sacred potential. So it could be, I'm thinking with that Eight of Cups, the Eight of Cups and the moon, that you're in that sort of liminal space. The moon, you're reflecting on the experience you had, and it could be, anything from relationship to work, anything in life, anything you're facing, or a soul journey, a descent to soul, on your sacred path, your purpose, or you have a vision but you haven't yet got there, or you're looking for vision, you're looking for that fire, you're looking for that motivation and meaning that fire brings. But the one thing you've got to remember with fire is fire, before you can see what you've got, it burns away the dross, it burns away the impurities. So if you've got, say you've got a metal, metal smelting, it will burn the fire. Those really, really hot fires will burn away every impurity. So what you pick out is beautiful. And kind of the Fool is reminding me of this. It's almost like you could see that as a big iron forge. And he's just come out of that. So he's not formed, he's just the potential. He hasn't been bashed into a sword or a frying pan. He's just there saying, here I am. I'm full of potential. So I'm feeling this is exactly where this energy is for you, that you're in a liminal space, that you've been through emotion, you've been through that water element, you've been through your feeling, you've been through the nurture, you've been through that kind of holding something, nurturing something. Could be your garden, could be your children, it could be your job. Uh, You need to, it's where it resonates for you. But now you're like, there's nothing solid come from it as yet. That's what I'm thinking. So this pure potential is enabling this warrior archetype to come out. I mean, we've got two um two water elements there, really, about feeling unconscious, the dark. Now we got the blazing sun and the fire of the warrior woman. So I believe you are standing at the moment in that pure potential. And sometimes it's a bit like the hangman card. It's like there's got to be a sense of illumination where the fire will bring that vision. It may be that you're being made internally, that all the pieces are falling into place. So it may be that you're in that space of waiting, that liminal space where you're seeing yourself as something different from before. You're seeing your your work, you're seeing that different. Maybe you are seeing the potential, you're receiving the vision of something, but you haven't yet taken that step into making it solid. And that fire energy will make it solid. It will make it solid. Okay. So let's have a look at your potential shadows here, the potential challenges, the difficulties that you may be having. I'm going to use the dark tarot here. They are a bit dark, the images, but they help you to see. Well, they help me to see shadow even in the very positive cards. Right, we've had a few fall out there. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so to begin with, we have the Ten of Spheres, which is the Ten of Pentacles. Okay, you can see that. For me, the Ten of Pentacles is always a legacy card for me. It's the finish, it's the end of something you've built. And it's almost like that it's the end of the minor arcana in a sense. So it's like that needs transforming. So whatever you have built, whatever you have attained, whatever the legacy is, whatever you have got back from all your work, it needs to transmute. It needs to move beyond what it is. You've fulfilled your potential materially. So I'm thinking getting this warrior woman and this vision, this fight, and all the potential. You need to go beyond the boundary, okay? You need to let your fire spread a bit. You need to move your bricks a bit further out so it can have some more fuel to keep going, okay? I think the danger here is you can lose heart as you're waiting and you're kind of holding that vision. So yeah, it is a legacy card, but for me it is what you've been through the whole, ace to 10 of the discs, of the pentacles, the spheres in this case. It's a journey, that it's a journey. So yeah, I feel what's being said is you need to move beyond. You need to not become a wildfire and burn everything down. You may be holding some anger. Don't worry about that anger, but don't act impulsively out of it. It stokes passion. It stokes you know, it stokes that warrior aspect. It may be that, as I said at the beginning, that you're very empathic and very sensitive, and you've been holding situations, people, you know, holding them in your heart, serving them, doing all you can, okay, and it hasn't come to fruition, or you haven't had a return, or nobody is listening to you, nobody is caring for you. So go into that, because this is the shadow aspect. Go into that. Do you feel you've built something that's come to an end, and there's frustration and anger, and kind of nowhere to go with that? And the reason I'm saying that is we have that Eight of Swords. So is that real kind of tied up feeling. It's that inability to move, okay? And I did mention the Hangman earlier. It could be that you're being held there to transmute something from the journey before. So if it's a job, you know, it may be that you've worked in a certain role and you know you're ready for another role, but you're being told you need more training, or the interviews for a promotion are taking too long. But hold on, don't get tied up, don't allow your passion, your anger, whatever is going on, the emotional side of it, to blind you or to hold you back. Don't allow, because this is swords, it's air, it's mind. This can often be kind of, you know, your inner critic getting at you. Oh, you're not going to get that job. You're not good enough. They don't think you're good enough. You need to kind of step into that pure potential that's in you. Know it. Know the truth of that. Okay, truth is air. Okay, know the truth of who you are, what you're capable of, and tap into that warrior energy, to the vision. Okay, because you don't need to be tied up if there's delays, any delays. There may be something, this is under the moon card, so there may be something that is hidden from you at the moment that you can't see, either within yourself that needs to shift, or especially if we're talking about, you know, this is resonating for you on a spiritual soul growth level, or it could be that, you know, that there's other pieces that need to fall into place that you can't see at the moment. So I have this sense that there's going to be a waiting period for you in that respect. But with our pure potential, we have the Queen of Swords, okay? And this can either be a person in your energetic field, and it can be, it's shadow. So the shadow side of the Queen of Swords is she is like got a tongue like a whip, you know. She's got icy critical words. It may be someone like that who is kind of stood in your way, or that you feel a potential fear of. There may be issues, you know, with authority that you have. It may be that you're getting more and more angry with her and want to bop her or him. It can be a male on the nose, you know. But it's actually this sense of, again, that warrior woman. I mean, the Queen of Swords, the light side of her is that, you know, quick intellect, that ability, and it is under the card of pure potential. So if someone is blocking you, if there is a person that's blocking you, or this energy is blocking you, maybe you've got, you know, your tongue is really hideous to yourself and it is blocking your vision, that fire and that motivation to know you've got what it takes. Okay, that could be blocking you, but employ it, because it is quick intellect. It is the ability to nurture the mind, to get a grasp of your mind, to use your words lovingly, to use your communication lovingly, but powerfully. Okay, that power of the warrior woman. So I'm thinking that is, I'm going to pull you almost as a message card, a shamanic healing card. Yeah, the energy feels in this read really frustrating because there's that warmth with the fire, you know, the vision, the passion, the enthusiasm, but there's almost like a block, or there has been that block, or you're blocking yourself in some way, and there's work that needs to be done to unstick yourself. If you see a shadow in you, you know, self-sabotage, or a fear, anxiety with these swords, you know, we got two swords, or you don't feel you're good enough, you know, you're full of potential. Okay, you're just full of infinite potential. You need to tap into that. Find your warrior, people. Get your old bows. What your bows? I keep calling arrows bows. You need a bow for an arrow, but get your arrow, your quiver. It's called a quiver they carry. Get your quiver ready, because when the time is opportune, you can shoot that arrow. Okay, you can shoot that arrow and hit the bullseye. So as I said, the fire refines. It could be a refinement that's needed, either an external refinement or an internal one. You know, and this, as I said, any area of life, I'm always talking about any area of life in terms of where you apply that. So apply it where it fits. Nothing's popping out, so I'm going to do a random pull like this. Ah, so we've got that past, present, and future for you. That's your message card. And in light of what we've been saying, that legacy card of the Ten of Spheres, you know, that could be your past legacy, where you've got to, okay? The future's not yet. You have to be in the present. But I think I spoke in the last read that everything resides in the present. You know, we look at it as linear time, but it resides in the here and now. So you need to kind of, you know, as with the fire, if you don't tend that fire, that passion you got in you, that enthusiasm, kind of stoke the fire, keep stoking your inner fire, keep stoking your passion. You know, if it, passion, I always think of a partner. If you're waiting for a partner, or you're, you know, you're pursuing someone, and there's kind of there's no no coming back, don't allow that passion to go. You know, don't become a stalker or obsessive. Don't let your fire get out of, yeah, I am joking. Don't let your fire get out of control. But if the fire's dying, you know, stoke it. For instance, what's popping in my mind, if you're having a long distance relationship, you know, keep doing the things you need to stoke that fire, that passion, that desire for that person. You know, whether it's sending them gifts or whatever it is, whatever you need to do to keep that passion alive. Okay. But it's all going to dovetail into the present. This is where it happens. This is where we're embodied here, in the here and now. I mean, in one sense, the past doesn't exist and the future doesn't exist, but day to day, minute by minute, the present does. So make sure you're stoking that fire. Okay, I hope that was helpful. And, you know, if you enjoyed it, please like, subscribe, comment, tell me how it went with you, how it felt for you, if you want to, or just say hello below. And if you want a personal reading, then, you know, go on ahead to soulsymbols.co.uk. There I do oracle reading, tarot reading, and astrology birth chart readings. Plus I do lunation, soul path, and shadow work readings. So go have a look and book one. Oh, look forward to seeing you. All right, bye-bye. Hello, pile two. Those of you who chose air. Okay, I'm going to be using the Muse deck. So air, just a quick bit about air. Okay. Air is the east. It's about the sunrise. It's about new beginnings, but it's specifically like breath, life force. I mean, if we don't breathe, we're dead. It's, we breathe when we come into this world. It begins our life, so to speak, as we come out of our mother's womb. So it's breath, life force. It's about mind. It's that intellect and wisdom. It's about, we think about birds. It's freedom, liberation, that flight. It's also about creativity and inspiration. And then we have our communication and expression. Um, and spiritually, it's very much associated with spiritual growth and the rising up, the ascension, the pursuit of higher states of consciousness. So something in there we're going to be looking at. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull an oracle card from the Earthcraft deck, because this is where whether you're looking for a spiritual read or a more practical, this is where we embody everything, isn't it? We live and have our being here. So Earthcraft, we look at what you're needing to embody or not, as the case may be. Okay, let's have a look. So let's see what the signifier card is for you. Oh, wonderful light. Yeah, light. I mean, we can see that as fire from the sun, but it's also to do with the air, isn't it, in that respect? We don't see the air, but we see the light that passes through the air. So I'm looking at this and thinking, this is kind of immersion. You've got your air, kind of like the light, her mind, her intellect, her consciousness. Okay. She looks like she's in water and she's got the fire of the sun there. The only thing we're not seeing is the earth in this card. So it's about receiving light, I think. Now, that could be light in terms of your spiritual growth, higher states of consciousness. It could be about your intellect. Could be light is going to come to you to, bring breadth to your wisdom. It could be this kind of alchemical pursuit where you're embodying. I say there's no earth, but her body's there. That's earth, isn't it? It could be she's in water, so it could be that she's trying to move into a sense, or you're trying to move into a sense of creativity or to be inspired. The light brings inspiration, clarity, doesn't it? Yeah, and then the communication and the expression of that, it contains the whole thing, this card. It's a beautiful card. So there goes our card that is like the signifier, but it's very broad. Okay. So I'm going to pull from this muse deck, and the reason I've got the muse deck, it's a proper tarot deck, but it's the muse, the expressive, communicative muse. Yeah, the muses, that mythology of the muses. Very arty they were. Like that expressive arts, writing, dramas, music. Okay, so your first card is 10 of inspiration. It's wands, 10 of wands, that is. So maybe she is lying there trying to get relief, because she's felt a bit burdened, a bit heavy, trying to reignite her intellect, her creativity there. If you keep looking at her there, that's the 10 of wands. I'm going to want to pop out, so I'm going to split the deck and pick two. We got the 10 of inspirations. Oh, yeah. The 8 of voices, which is swords, And then we have the 10 of materials, which is the 10 of, oh, excuse me, the 10 of pentacles. We have temperance as our bottom energy. Okay, so that's very much temperance is, like I said, it's, for me, temperance is the card of alchemy. Okay, it is that card of alchemy. It's bringing elements together to create a new thing. Okay, see here, I'm seeing burden and stuckness. Okay, she's looking down. She's not looking where she's going. She's looking at all the pots, all the cows, all the cows that she's got to milk. She's looking at her work a day. She's got those daily burdens that need to be done. You know, we need to, I have to keep telling myself, we need to hoover and do the dishes, and we need to do our, you know, we need to do our daily stuff. Okay, but sometimes we're so involved in our daily stuff, earning our money to bring home, that we miss the beauty around us. Yeah, and we don't see the mystery, the beauty, the truth of life. Okay, so it could be that you're feeling very stuck mentally in a kind of groove where everything is kind of like a trudge every day. I mean, this is 10 of inspiration, it's wand, it's fire energy. Okay, so it could be your fire's gone out a bit. Life's ground you down, you know, the work, eat, sleep of life. That you need to make some room, because here we have the 8 of voices. Okay, and this is air energy, and this is an air reading. But again, it's a very stuck. She's looking up, but she's blindfolded. She's kind of, it's a very, that card makes me feel very trapped. It's a very black and white card, isn't it? Yeah, it's the 8 of swords. So it is that blindfolded, tied up kind of energy. And that is the energy of burden. So I'm really thinking this, it may be where you're at and why you are taking that kind of relaxation to blend all the elements of your life, not just to be looking at your work, or, you know, it could be work as in paid work, it could be work as in the home. You could have lost, you might be doing something really creative and lost that spark, lost that creativity or that inspiration. So the call is to be inspired again, whether it's in what you're doing already or something new, but there's a real sense of, you know, getting that inspiration to be creative. That's who we are at our essence, at our very essence, at a soul level. We're here to co-create. We are creative, and that's not just painting, singing, and all those kind of expressions. It's not just the arts, you know. We can be creative in problem solving. We can be creative in how we dress, how we decorate our home, how we make our garden. We can be expressive and creative in anything our hands touch. If we get our hands in the mud, so to speak, if we get busy, we're going to create. It's kind of a byproduct of being alive. I think being embodied, being in this, you know, our little old bodies, yours might not be quite so old, but yeah, being in our bodies. So it's bringing that light in, you know, needing to bring the light into something that's feeling a little bit stale with those two cards. So think about what you can do to that. you know, it may be just a pampering day. It may literally be getting out into the sun, you know, letting those beams, instead of, you know, being blindfolded. I mean, she has got her eyes closed, but she's under the beams of the sun. She's allowing light into her intellect, into her mind. There's a sense she's kind of cocooned there. She feels pampered, but she's floating on the water. You know, there's if you go for, well, if you like water, if you float on your back in the water, it's beautiful. There's a sense of freedom, weightlessness. It could be that, you know, doing what you need to do that brings you that relief from burden, to give yourself some space, whether it's from, you know, a house full of children, or the chores, or, you know, a heavy workload, responsibility at work, you know, the seriousness of life, the grind of life. I think there's a real sense of trying to get away from that. And we had this beautiful 10 of Pentacles, and this came out. So if you were tempted to go for the fire read, this was in that too. It's a 10 of materials. Okay. So this for me is always the legacy card, and it's expressed beautifully there. There's, you know, a whole bunch of people, a community who've, you know, they're around a kind of rose tree type. I love the oddness of these cards, the kind of mixture of images. But they've built something together, and those red roses are love. They may have just built community, okay, a beautiful community, a beautiful family. So there's a sense of maybe you wanting a legacy to leave. Maybe you want to build something that all the community can come to. Maybe you're, you know, literally trying to build community, trying to connect up with people, trying to get people of like minds to build something. It could be as literal with this card as a community garden, or a place where you can, you know, grow vegetables for the community. But whatever it is, it may just be your family, just your family. I mean, it's one of the most important things, but it may be your family, you know. But whatever you're trying to build, you know, don't be building so much that it becomes a burden. You need to look where the burden of building and connecting. I mean, air is connectivity, isn't it? It's that beautiful connectivity, you know. And I'm just thinking, if you work in tech, you know, and it's draining your brain, and thinking, oh my goodness, I've got to do this, you know, that kind of brain drain. That's what that card feels to me like. A brain drain, a drain of inspiration, a drain of vision under the bump, 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 and then feeling tied up, you know, not having that inspiration. There's your inspiration. You need light into the situation to build that legacy, okay? I don't think you've built it yet. I think you're in the midst of building it. Okay, I'm going to have a look at, oh, have a look at kind of direct shadow. So I use the dark tarot, and they are a bit freaky, some of the cards, but they help tap into a sense of shadow, what the shadow may be, whatever the card. Okay, so we'll have a look to see what is, you know, is there something underneath the surface that is keeping you from the light coming in, the inspiration, the creativity, that spiritual growth. It may be a spiritual path, you know. Maybe you are literally what they call a light worker, you know, but it's burdensome at the moment. But let's have a look if there's what shadow. And we've all got shadow, and what we need to do in shadow are some of our greatest gifts. But we need to face our shadow, okay, whatever that is, or a shadow of a situation. Okay. See, we got temperance again. So we got temperance there, and there's a shadow of temperance. We have the sun with this temperance. We have the moon with this temperance. So there's something going on in that with that burden. We'll have a look at the other cards first. Then we have the Empress as a shadow, where the Eight of Swords, the Eight of Voices are. And then we have the Queen of Cups, where the Ten of Materials is. Yeah, and the Hermit on the bottom. Yeah, I'm thinking there's burden here. I really think this is just the workaday life that is, sorry, I'm not showing you the workaday life, or see what you need to see in that card, okay? But it's burden, it really is burden. She's not looking a happy bunny, is she? She's looking down, she's dressed in black, says me in black. But that Temperance is an alchemical card. So there's a shadow here. Maybe you feel the need to be needed. Maybe you feel you've started something and you've got to continue and not stop, but it is burdening you. So the Temperance being the shadow, there's something that is kind of unseen for you, and with that moon there, that's a kind of uh unconscious thing. So sit with things like, what do you value about what you're doing? How could you release the burden? Why are you doing the work you're doing? Yeah, ask yourself questions, open to what comes up, because there's alchemy there. Okay, and we've got the light Temperance there. We've got the light of it, and it is, if you have a look at it, it's just beautiful. It's an absolutely beautiful, oh, sorry, beautiful card. It's the bringing the elements together. It's bringing the earth, water, fire. It's kind of like the magician, but it's the result. It's opposites coming together. So what is this shadow opposite of what inspires you? What gives you intellectual freedom and liberation? Okay. So have a look at that shadow. You'll have to sit with that. And these couldn't be, you'd rather have the Eight of Swords as your shadow, okay? Because you got the Empress. There's the Empress. So the Empress is Venus. Again, it's beauty, right? And we're talking about the mind here. And this is an air read. So what is, oh, excuse me, 1 minute. What is your ideal of beauty? And with the Venus, that's love, harmony, balance, relationship. Is there a shadow in your relationship to yourself, in your relationship to other people, within your work? Are you, are you being a bit emperorish, emperorish, empress, I can't say it. Are you being a bit, because she's like all the queens put together. Are you being kind of a little bit authoritative with what you want? Is there a shadow there? Have you got an expectation of that love, harmony, beauty, all those abundance that is kind of coming out of a sense of want, a sense of neediness? Okay, they're difficult questions to ask. Have are your expectations, if you are a writer or you're artistic in some way, you're creative, everyone is creative, I said it earlier, is there an expectation there? Have you got a sense of perfectionism that is burdening you, that is tying you in knots because you can't reach it? Ask those kind of questions, okay? Because we do have a shadow on this, which is, again, it's the Queen of Cups, okay? So it's an emotional shadow to the material. We've got every element here we have. But are you emotionally drained? Are you so tired emotionally? Have you got so much going on that you're depleted? Are you trying to give too much emotionally? Have your emotions become like the rapids rather than the still quiet waters of a lake? Yeah. Again, ask about your emotions in terms of what you're trying to build. This is material, um, it's legacy, it's building something materially. Are you giving too much? Are you nurturing too much? Have you spread yourself too thin? You know, have a look at that. Are you feeling trapped by that vision you have? You know, that kind of, yeah, yeah, are you feeling trapped by what you're trying to achieve is what I'm saying. But there's light to come there. And if it's on a spiritual level, people, you know, if this is about your spiritual growth and ascension, pursuing um, higher states of consciousness, has it become a grind? Are you doing methods? Are you watching too much YouTube, getting too many ideas and trying everything, and you're getting ground down and you're getting frustrated and you're getting upset because there doesn't appear to be any growth? The growth will only come from within you. Doesn't matter how many books you read, it doesn't matter how many seminars you attend and what you watch on here, even me included, until you drop into yourself and you look at the aspects that are holding you back, you face, you allow the light in, you won't get that spiritual growth. Okay. And we've all got shadow, and there is the card here, the Hermit. It's a bottom energy, you know, it's a shadow energy. So are you isolating yourself too much? Have you got too much of a load? Are you, you know, where you haven't got the freedom and you haven't got the liberation to express yourself? Yeah, have you separated and isolated yourself? Okay, what I'm gonna finish it there. I don't think there's much more I can say without rambling, if I haven't been already. No, I'm joking. I'm gonna pull you a healing card from it's the shamanic healing deck, okay? By way of a message, just to tie it up for you. I was just about to call you Aquarius there because it's Aries. You might be Aquarius. So if you're Aquarius, you're at the right read, clearly. Oh, look at that. That's beautiful. Okay, so your message is, yeah, it's creativity. You need to, if you've got blocks with your creativity, if your creativity or creating feels like a burden, or you feel trapped and you haven't got that freedom, that liberty to express in the way you want to, okay, creativity. And that's the Three of Cups, isn't it? Maybe, you know, maybe that shadow of the Hermit is the bottom energy. Maybe you're isolated a bit. Maybe you need to collaborate. You know, that business of two heads are better than one, three are even better. I made that last bit up, you might notice. You need to get some light on your creativity, people, okay? Open up to that light. Go do something like this. Whatever that card means to you, it's been up the whole time. Get some light on your creativity. You might need to re-envision something, you know, you might need some light in your inspiration, in your communication and expression. But go and do something beautiful where you can connect to yourself and your needs and your desires. And you know what brings you meaning, what brings you growth. Even if you go and sit in the garden with your journal, listen to the birds and listen to yourself, you know, but you will get that creativity back. That if you've lost it, you'll get it back. If you haven't lost it and it's become a bit heavy, that's going to change for you very shortly. Okay, I hope that was helpful. Oh yeah, if it was helpful, please, I nearly forgot. please leave a comment in the box below. Let me know if it's helpful. Let me know if it resonated, okay? And if you want a personal reading, I do oracle readings, tarot readings, reasonably priced. I do astrology readings, and you can have lunation readings. I do soul path readings, shadow readings. Okay. If you pop over to soulsymbols.co.uk, there's a big old explanation of what I do. I'd love to see you for a private read. I look forward to it. Okay. Thank you. Bye bye. So, pile three, those of you who chose water, we're going to have a look at what is going on for you. So water, it is the west. It's the directionally the west, okay? So it's sunsets, where the sun goes down. It's often about endings, can literally be, I'm not saying anyone's going to die, but it can signify, it signifies the end of the day, that, you know, the sun going down, it's dying and rebirthing in the morning at sunset. So it's water, isn't it? So it's emotions, it's life itself. If we don't have water, we're kaput. If the plants don't have water, you know, get a drought, you see what happens, you shrivel. It's intuition, it's healing, friendship and love. Water, you know, memory, it's to do with memory, water. Purity, we have a lot of ceremonial things, you know, where the water purifies. Um, Fluidity and flow, you know, that kind of beautiful movement. And it can be like quiet movement or it can be rapids, okay, or tsunamis. Okay, so that fluidity and flow, and its mystery can be dreaming, strength, change, femininity in the moon, devotion, receptivity. Okay, it's very feminine, the water. So there's some kind of associations with water. I mean, there's only some. You could go on and on and on, but they're just some I can think of. So I'm going to pull you an Earthcraft, okay, card, and we'll use it as a sort of signifier because it's a big subject, water. So if there's anything in what I said there that resonates, you know, in what it's about, just listen out for that. Okay, but be open, be receptive to what comes, okay? So let's have a look what we have for you. Unbelievable. I adore this card, but definitely water, isn't it? We're talking thunderstorm. I said about the rapids, didn't I? Or tsunami. I forgot the thunderstorm. But you can see the movement, you can see the flow in him. But he's also in the storm been struck with lightning in the heart. Okay, so something very maybe you have been struck with a bolt in the heart. You know, this is about love. It is about feeling. It is about emotion. It could be that you are struck or you've struck someone else, you know, who loved you. We do both. We strike and we're struck. I don't mean literally, I mean like metaphorically. But we can also see this in another light, in that you know, it's his dance. His dance has whipped up that thunderstorm. His ebb and flow, his fluidity, the way he dances has conjured that storm up, conjured, and a thunderstorm, whether you're frightened of them or not, it's amazing. The thunderstorms are amazing. The air is electric. That movement, you've got the wet, the pouring rain, you've got the darkness of the storm coming over, and then you've got the thunder and the lightning coming out. You know, it's spectacular. It is nature, you know, in its power, in its absolute power. And he's receiving that power. So there's a sense of, yeah, he's being strengthened here. He's either being struck or he's dancing. He's danced that storm up. Okay. He's danced his inner strength, his emotional strength, his power, or it can be male or female, but there's definitely that kind of masculine active, whereas the water is feminine receptive. But the feminine is not always cool and gentle, and the feminine is powerful. Mother Earth is powerful. She's destructive sometimes. There's a immense power in it. But we're talking about the water here, so it could be, it could be that you've been doing your rain dance for some time, asking for something, yeah. Either literally, you know, some of us do it literally, or metaphorically. You've been dancing, you've needed the rain. Maybe you need water. Maybe you need, to be cleansed. Maybe you need to be energized. Maybe you need to relax. But yeah, that's that's the energy. That is a powerful energy. So we're talking about the power of water there. I'll leave it there, and you can see it. It's quite lovely under the roots of the tree. So I'm going to pull you some, it's a shiny Rider Waite deck. I'm going to pull you these to clarify that card, see exactly, hone it in a bit for us. And then when I've done that, I'm going to pull some shadow energy cards. Oh. Ah, we got the King of Wands at the bottom. Okay. King of Wands, absolute fire. Fiery visionary he is. So we got fire. And what's interesting is we have, to all intents and purposes, fire and water here with the lightning. So we have the King of Pentacles here, earth energy. We have the 10 of Wands in the middle. And we have Judgment. Okay. Just have one sec to have a look at those. You can see them, can't you? We bring them a bit over here. Okay. I'm thinking this is what is coming for me. This is beautiful. The King of Pentacles, he builds solidly, slowly, but amazingly good foundations. He builds his kingdom. Okay. So this is in the material. So you may have been building something that has literally been struck by lightning or storm damage or water damage, or this is a person who you're dealing with, okay, that perhaps you need to move on from. The King of Pentacles is, it's a beautiful energy, but it's a very kind of almost, I always see the King of Pentacles as a stoic energy, this constant, we will do this, we will build this, we will do a bit. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with stoicism, if any of you into stoicism, but you know what I'm saying, that serious, almost Saturnian type energy, disciplined, good foundation builder, good builder on top of the foundations, work, 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 work. It's that material, but there's nothing wrong with it. But if you see the difference between these energies, it's kind of stark. So I am guessing that this is either you and you need that kind of fluidity and flow. You need to be able to dance. You need to be able to summon up the rain and the lightning. You need that power and energy into something that there's nothing wrong with what's being built, but there needs to be some excitement, some, I don't know, I get this sense of energetic infusion, and we've got water. He's dreaming a thunderstorm. He's dancing a thunderstorm. He's pulling strength in. He's kind of static. Yeah. It's built, he's happy, it's done. Okay. Maybe it's that case you've built a family, you've built a relationship, you've built a good career, but you're kind of sitting there a bit like that. Those types of things we can lose interest, can't we? Let's be honest. When you've built things, you've had that big surge of creative excitement and you've moved on from that, and it's become kind of like, oh, we do A, B, C, boom, boom, boom. But in a positive light, it could actually be that what you have built, your relationship, your job, your family, your project, your business, your garden, your creativity, whatever has been built there, is going to get that injection of electric. It's going to get that beautiful, kind of powerful, energetic flow to it. Your nice little gentle brook is going to become the rapids. It's going to have that energy. That's what I'm sensing. The energy of that thunderstorm is incredible. And there is a sense here with the 10 of Swords, that something is ending. This is mental, it's mind energy, it's air energy. So we have that sense of maybe there is a need either to depart from this figure who is, maybe blocking your flow because he's built a dam. That's what's come into mind. Has he built a dam or has he not? But if he has, if that energy, it doesn't have to be a he, it can be a she. If that energy has been there, you might be wanting that mystery of water, that memory of feeling in your flow, dreaming, changing, flowing, and it's all too stable, too solidified, too brick on brick. I hope you can get it's the energy I'm feeling of the read. But if that's the case, it's going to come to an end, okay? And it's going to be a mental finish in that sense, okay? And we always have to see, although the night's coming in, there is daylight there, okay? We've got the duality, the polarity of the night and day in this card, okay? I mean, it always looks pretty vicious. But this as well can be a pinning down of our ego. This can be our small self that's pinned to the ground. It may be that we've become too kind of comfortable in our material reality, and we need to get out and summon some thunderstorm. Okay, we may need that. There is a purity to that when you're summoning the rain and the storm. Okay, the storm always clears the air, doesn't it? Well, 9 times out of 10, unless you're at about 40 degrees. But it's that devotion to accepting the power of water in that form within a storm, with the fire, with the electric. Okay, so moving out, moving away, ending things that are not good. And we do have the King of Wands here, and yeah, he's sitting as well, but he's got his salamander there, he's got his fire, his vision, he's got his wand. He's a magic guy. He's a magic energy. It may be that you need to, that lightning strike. You can go from all this abundance and stability, and there's nothing wrong with that, but you can go from that to the fire of passion, vision, action. Okay. And I'm noticing he is looking towards him. Okay. He's kind of not wanting to look at him, is he? If you can see, he's like looking straight ahead. I'm not looking at you doing your silly dance. That's the sort of energy. And then there's a judgment card. And I mean, the judgment card is the wake up call. It's the big trumpet, trumpet in the sky, the storm in the sky, the lightning bolt. You're going to get something soon, I believe, that is going to bring mystery. It's going to bring, maybe a bit of ceremony, a bit of ritual. There's a sense of opening your mind to the flow, of not being stayed and stuck in kind of routines that are safe and secure. And I'm not saying go do something silly, but I'm just saying, some people will not go near the magical, perhaps, and ceremony and ritual. But there is something wonderful, and he is summoning chaos. It's as simple as that. He is summoning stability. He is summoning fire and vision and change and transformation. Okay. And here's the wake up. Wake up. There's a sense, that King of Pentacles energy needs to lay down. Maybe egos have grown. If this is you or someone around you, they've achieved so much materially that the egos like got out of whack, and it needs to lie down. Okay. But the judgment is the awaken card. It's like, it's that lightning bolt. Wake up, because actually what's happening is not full of that life. It is not full of that beauty. Okay. It's not full of devotion and passion, and it's not flowing into that oneness. It's you on your own. You've achieved this, but is it flowing out? Are you bringing it out? Are you pushing it out to help other people? It's kind of a real wake up call. Okay, what I'm going to do is pull out of my dark tarot the shadow to this, and we'll have a look. Because the shadow's only a blockage if you're not prepared to see it. I just see such a polarity between that King of Pentacles. I can't move from it. That's the energy. That's the message. Like, yeah, you can be safe and you can be secure, but there's a storm you can summon out there, and it is going to enrich you. It's going to bring you. And this is about that sunset, and it is about, we're bringing a kind of wisdom from the West. It's about the whole cycle of life. So it can be that you're not seeing the full picture of what you are capable of who you can be at a soul level, at an energetic level. Yeah, open up. Let the walls down. Okay. Don't dam the flow of water, whether it's emotion. Maybe you just need to open the dam and just cry, and welcome in those cleansing tears. It's a purifying. Right. I think it's directly going to jump. So under the King of Pentacles, we got the World, yeah, which is it's interesting. It's Saturn, so it's discipline. There's nothing more stoic than Saturn. Okay. Saturn rules Capricorn and Aquarius, so he is the builder. Okay. He's the builder. He builds things. He's disciplined. He's boundary. But even with Saturn, there is a beautiful mystic side. There is wisdom, deep, deep wisdom. Okay. But I'm thinking more of the boundaries, kind of the stoic boundaries. Now you can have the world, I mean, if we look here, we have the egg, that, that egg of creation, an egg of potential in a galaxy with what's looking like something a bit similar to that. There's a similar energetic here. So I'm thinking the shadow to this King of Pentacles, and what you might be missing is that wild part of you. I mean, we're talking about the West, there's a kind of mystery and an unknownness about the West. And I think Spirit's asking you just to open to that. And under the 10 of Swords is the Knight of Cups. So you might have romanticized things, you know, or someone around you might have romanticized things. You might have that shadow of your kind of understanding of love and connection and flow. Then like he's in water, look, he's walking in water. Him and his horse have got a pretty big shadow there. Okay, it's fogged up. There's a sense of there may be a fog on your relationships, on the way you flow, your creativity. Maybe there's a fog on your intuition. I've really got this sense you need to go out and do something wild. Yeah, not illegal, obviously, but wild. Yeah, there's kind of the Knight of Cups is very passionate, but he can also be very kind of flighty, can't he? You know, come in on his white horse and give you a big cup of something and then bugger off, really. So there's that sense of, you know, allowing old ideas of how you're meant to flow, of what romance is, what friendship is, you know, what life is, you know, how intuition works. Open up, you know, let your ego die, become teachable. I'm not saying you're not, I'm just saying this sounds really negative, but I'm just pushed by this energy. Let go. Or the person you're around, that King of Pentacles energy, is maybe squashing that beautiful, wild, abandoned, connected dance that you want to do with life. Okay. Yeah, and the Judgment, the shadow, is the Four of Spheres. And the Four of Spheres is the Four of Pentacles. It can be that king sitting on all these materials, you know. I mean, I see the Four of Pentacles very differently, often, whatever context the read's in. But with this kind of solidity, this solidness, it's almost under this wake up Judgment card. The shadow is not letting something go. He's holding his fears like, no, it's mine. So again, it may be something in your shadow that needs to let go. I think there's something in you to discover, to awaken to. Okay. There needs to be a receptivity to that. And I think whatever comes out of it is going to be a storm, not in a bad way, but a storm of aliveness, of flow, of fluidity. Okay. That is one I just can't stop looking at that. It's the rest of the read has been, oh well, it's blocked, but that's gonna be that yeah, it's going to be. And remember, you know, I'm looking at the lightning and that thunderstorm. We have Uranus, you know, just gone into Gemini, and that is lightning strike. That is sudden change. You may feel some sudden change coming in your emotional life, in you know, that will heal you, that would pull you into your intuitive sense, your spiritual sense. Yeah, right. Anyway, I'll stop. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull you a shamanic healing card by way of a message to kind of wrap it up for you. Let's have, oh, that wants to come. Let's have a look. Yeah, home. Okay, so we're hoping the home's stable. I always look at this card home as what is your home? What is your, you know, who is your home? We always think it's family. We see that, again, we see that stability, don't we? That comfort, that material comfort, if we're lucky enough to have it. And that stability and that routine and that pattern and those traditions, okay. But this card I always see as home, as in the heart, the soul, and home as in your tribe. I just can't get away from the sense that you're being, the flow is pulling you to maybe a different tribe of people, maybe a different pattern of creativity. Maybe there's a memory that you have that has been returning, you know, from when you were at home, when you were a child, something that you loved doing, or something that really attracted you, pulled you, and kind of swamped you and enveloped you. Yeah. But be broad in your definition of home, because I think spirit, by way of that thunderstorm, is going to take you home into your flow, your creativity, your healing, your relationships. Spirit's going to take you home. Okay, I really hope that was helpful. If you enjoyed it, please like, subscribe, and drop a comment. Tell me if it resonated. If it didn't resonate, or you don't see anything in it for you, go look at the other reads there, the fire, what are we, water, the fire, air, and earth. Okay, just check them out. Also, if you want a private read, I do very reasonable prices. Go along to soulsymbols.co.uk. I do tarot readings, oracle readings. I do soul path readings, shadow readings. I do lunation readings, and I also work with the astrology with the lunation readings and, birth chart readings. All reasonably priced, all done over Zoom. So pop along there, have a look, and I'll really look forward to seeing any of you decide to have a read. All right, lots of love to you all. Bye-bye. Hello, those of you who chose pile 4, Earth energy you chose, okay? So Earth, it's the north. It's about wisdom and knowledge. It can be the wisdom of our ancestors, our roots, our lineage. It's about the material, obviously, embodiment, us embodied here, femininity and nurture, Mother Gaia, that groundedness and solid foundations the earth gives us. It's about growth, beauty, abundance, fertility. But the earth is also about power, fierceness, the storms, the tsunamis, the hurricanes, the rapids, the fierceness of earth, the earthquakes, whatever. There's a fierceness. It's creative and destructive, the earth, in that way. But yeah, that beauty, abundance, and fertilities. And then it's about cycles, very much about cycles, our seasonal cycles, our bodily cycles. Yeah, cycles of life and death in terms of material, the plant life. So it's all about that. It's about rebirthing, that whole cycle. So it talks about, that is like, it reflects, the earth reflects the inner working of our soul spirit. Okay, so the earth, people always think material. It's not. It's about the wisdom and knowledge of being a soul embodied on this earth. So it is as broad as the whole lot of elements put together, because it incorporates all those. Yeah. So what I am going to do for you, earth people, you earth angels, is I am going to pull an earthcraft card. It's an oracle card, okay? And we'll see what the signifier is. It'll give us direction from spirit in terms of how the reading will go. Then I'll throw you some tarot and have a look at any shadow that is lurking there. So, what have we got? Earth. Oh, beautiful. That's just lovely. Oh, wonderful. I was just looking at the bottom. I love these cards. Okay, you're sacred. That's as earthy as it gets. That really is Mother Earth image, isn't it? You know, yeah, being nurtured at the bosom of Mother Earth, you know, and the roots, just like the roots on the tree there. Yeah, it's that sense of your sacredness. Your body is a temple for your soul. You are sacred. You're sacred, whatever, however you perceive yourself to be, whatever the culture says about who you are, what you are, how you look, how you present yourself. You are a sacred temple. You're housing a beautiful, eternal, infinite soul. Okay, you're embodied on this earth. There's a sense of, you know, seeing yourself as interconnected. You are interconnected, that, you know, with all that is, particularly with nature while we're here, the nature of ourselves, first and foremost, and other human beings, but the nature, literally as in nature, you know, we are connected with that. We can hear through that. I just love the card, and the image of this card. This woman knows she's sacred. She's holding herself. Maybe you need to hold yourself. Maybe you need to see yourself in your nakedness and kind of face that, face your shadow of those voices that tell you you're not good enough, or you're not pretty enough, or you're not the right shape, or the right, you know, and that can be male or female, not handsome enough, you know, not got the right equipment, whatever it is. But know, whoever you are, however you present yourself, whatever you look like, whatever your inner voices says, there's a voices that is louder. You are sacred. You are a divine child. You are, you know, the child of Gaia. You are beautiful, a beautiful soul. And you are interconnected with the earth, the water, the air, and the sky, and the divine, and everything in between. It's beautiful. You're a temple. You're housing, you know, eternity inside you. Look after yourself. I'm telling myself that, by the way, as well. Yeah, look after yourself, look after the earth, but mainly this is to restate your beauty. Okay, so I'm going to pull some tarot. You've got the Rider Waite. I thought we'd go for the. Oh, we got the Judgment again. Now that came out in the last read, in the water read. So if you want to go have a look at that. Yeah, and you've got the Emperor. And your bottom energy is the Six of Pentacles. Okay, so this is really interesting, Earth people, Earth angels, okay? Because you've got three major arcana. So, yeah, out of the whole deck and just three cards, you have major arcana. So just give me a sec. Okay, so our Hanged Man. Okay, I always think of Odin when I see that, where Odin hung himself on the tree, didn't he, waiting for illumination. I think it was to get, was it the runes? He was receiving something from the divine. You know, he was receiving knowledge, understanding. Okay, so with this card, you are sacred. You may have not felt that way. You may have been hanging about waiting, thinking I'm not good enough. Or you may not have been thinking that, but you've been waiting to be illumined about something, about your sacredness, about your soul work, about your interconnection, about your ability to, be powerful and fierce, or your femininity, male or female, the beauty of your femininity. You may have been waiting to be illumined. Okay, so hanging about, yeah. And this is about sacrifice for illumination. It may be that you're sacred. This might be a confirmation of, I'm going to move that so you can see her. It may be a confirmation of your sacredness, that knowledge you have of your sacredness, of you housing, the gods, divinity, your soul, housing infinity in there. Maybe you are someone who works with the elements, who works with the earth. I kept saying earth angel to begin with, but that sense of, your work is to do, connected with the earth. Maybe it is with your garden, or producing food, or creating beauty in some way on the earth. But there's a sense of awaiting illumination, okay? Waiting for that illumination, okay? Right here we have Judgment, which is, to me, wake up. It's the awakening card. It's the big trumpet in the sky that gets you out of your state of deadness. And I mean, if you look at the figures there, she always reminds me of Attack of the Zombies, doesn't she? With her arms out. But they're kind of dead, and they've been woken up. They're being rebirthed. I mean, it is that Christian story of judgment, but I see this as kind of like us awakening to see who we really are, to see our connection with divinity. However you see divinity, and that may just be the earth, your sense of divinity is the spirit of the whole of the earth. The sense that it's alive, it's organic, that there are spirits within nature, there are messages, there are, that magic of nature. We tend to take the material for granted. Now, if you do, there may be an awakening to that, both your sacredness, and in turn, when you see yourself as sacred, you realize how sacred everyone else is, and how sacred this beautiful, abundant, fertile place we live in is. Okay, so this is awakening. It may be that you need to make a judgment about how you see yourself. Maybe you're fed up of that naggy old critical voice we have in our heads going, you can't do this, you're not good enough, you're not this, you're not that. Maybe this is, the trumpet blow for that. Right, I'm judging you, you're gone. Because you've got the Emperor. I mean, that he looks arrogant, doesn't he? I always think he looks arrogant. I want him to look kind, but he's fierce, he's the counterpart of the Empress. He's kind of the Mars to he's Aries, Aries energy, the Ram. Yeah. So, maybe your sacredness, we had the warrior in another one. I think it might have been fire. So that might be something you want to look at, because the Emperor is Aries, which is fire element. But the Emperor is in command. He's always ready to, ready to go into battle. He's got his red on, which is very rooted, grounded. He's sovereign. He knows who he is. He knows where he's going. He knows what he's the energy of spring, fire and spring, new beginnings. This is north. This is having wisdom and knowledge. So I think it's a sense of, and again, honoring your lineage, your ancestors, knowing, taking their knowledge, taking their insight. That can even be just generations above you that you know about. Take that, know where you come from, honor it, bring out the best of that, because that resides in you. That is part of your legacy, part of your lineage. But maybe you need to take the authority, you need to be sovereign over that. There may be ancestral work you're doing. You may be releasing ancestral patterns that kind of pull you down or reduce you. Yeah. And there is on our bottom energy, the Six of Pentacles. It's Earth, it's balance. This is the balance. This is that beautiful balance. It's a giving and it's a receiving. So again, look at, where you're giving, where you're receiving. Are you giving out? Are you one of those beautiful earth mother people, give all the time? Are you receiving? Are you seeing yourself as someone who needs to receive, who needs to, have your cup filled? Have your belly filled. Yeah, because it's about that beautiful femininity and nurture. If a man, are you nurturing that feminine side of you, that receptive side of you? Yeah. So these are all questions. I'm going to have a look at the shadow side. Oh, I just need to check something. Oh, it's okay. That's it. I thought I wasn't recording, doing a whole read without recording. That would be awful. I think I'm going to hang myself on the hangman's tree. Yeah. Okay. Let's have a look what comes first, shadow wise. Right. I am going to. Okay. So the hangman, we have the Six of Cups. Okay. It's the second six. For Judgment, we have the World. And for the Emperor, we have the Nine of Swords. Yes, that. The Ace of Spears, the Ace of Pentacles, Earth energy there. Okay. Yeah, so the Hangman, I'm thinking, I was talking about the ancestral work. This is our shadow card. It's a good card, okay, but the shadow side of this card is the sense of over sentimentality, nostalgia, that kind of trying to hang on to, grasp back at what was lovely when you were a child. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's almost a getting caught in that, so you can't move on from that, and you compare everything. If you had a lovely childhood, you're very lucky, but if you had that and you're constantly trying to grasp onto that, it can be a card in the shadow where where we don't mature emotionally. We're stuck in a lower, not a lower, children are not a lower sense, that's wrong, but stuck in the memories, stuck with, it could also be something emotional that wasn't a good memory, that you go round and round with, or that has eaten away your sense of being sacred. Okay, that could be your shadow. That could be what you need to be illumined about. Why can't I see myself as sacred, as able, as divine, as embodying spirit, as someone with great skill and ability, someone of worth, whatever it is, wherever you feel a sense of low self-esteem. There's a sense this could be rooted in your childhood, or it could be rooted in your lineage, in your ancestral lineage, okay? So that might be worth reflecting on if that resonates with you, or if you're doing active ancestral work, look at it. And if you look here, there are people in the shadows there, okay? So it really is that sense of shadow on that Six of Cups. It's about childhood nostalgia. Yeah, there may be some ongoing trauma, which is, yeah, it's ancestral lineage. You may need to do some work there. Okay. And then you've got the world. So this is the last thing of the deck. Yeah, it's the last thing, the last card of the deck. So we got the judgment, the wake up. Okay, the world is, I mean, it is material, isn't it? It's material. But this also denotes Saturn, the world. It's come up a couple of times. And Saturn is that kind of the building of foundations. It's the climbing of the hills, you know, the Capricorn, overcoming things. It's about discipline, boundaries, but it can also be about that mysticism. But it can like grip us in uh too many boundaries. Saturn is the planet of no, no, no. Okay. Okay. So there may be a need to wake up to your no. Your shadow might be your no. No, you can't do that. No, you can't act like that. No, you can't be that person. You know, there may be some belief or some form, you know, form of activity or groups or tribal things, you know, your tribe, your soul tribe that you want to join, but you're like, no, because I'm going to get judged. No, I can't do that. So look at that also, because it's a shadow, and Saturn's shadow can be quite severe, okay? The world shadow can be quite severe, but it is a lovely card. It's that egg, okay, in the middle of a galaxy. So it is the potential. And our potential, you know, and with the hangman, our potential often comes when our shadows are illumined, okay? So work with those shadows. And as I say, it may be an ancestral shadow that kind of gets baked into us and our behavior and our, you know, and it can be that spiritual. So have a look at that. And with the Emperor, who is the authority, the fire, the kind of Aries ram energy, okay, we've got the Nine of Swords, which is mental energy, and it is anxiety. Perhaps you are being pushed out into a role of leadership, and you're now looking at your vulnerabilities. Nothing wrong with vulnerabilities, but becoming anxious, you know, being awake at night. I mean, that's quite a dire card, isn't it? But it is anxiety and stress. So there's a sense of you need to balance that with knowing your sacredness, knowing that you can do whatever you're called to do. If you're called to a leadership role, you know, address that shadow, go down. It could be from, like I said, um, a childhood trauma, something where you've pushed yourself down and you are not seeing your true worth. You've repressed something about you that is beautiful, that is, you know, some way of expressing, some way of being in the world. And you're anxious because you think you fall short, because you can't see it, because you've repressed it, put it in the shadow. So your gifts are there, okay? And we do have as our bottom energy the Ace of Spheres. So that is, you're being handed a new start, you know, a new view. Yeah, a new beginning. So the sun is rising from the east, the air, to get rid of that kind of thinking, air thinking, that anxious thinking. Yeah. Needs to be some balance there. I think you've got something new, get some balance. I'm going to end it there, and I am going to pull you a shamanic healing card by way of a kind of message at the end that will help. They're beautiful cards, they are. I could stare for ages at those. They're just so lovely. So let's see what we've got for you. Oh, that's popping out. Yeah, look. New day, a new day, a new beginning. I said the sun's rising in the east. There you go. It is a new day. I think you're being called to something. You're being called, you need to be um ready to kind of be illumined, and that does take a certain amount of sacrifice often to get that. And I don't mean bad sacrifice, I just mean sacrifice as in your time, your energy, your discipline. We got the world there, it's about that discipline. But a new day is coming. There is newness on the horizon, something new, something is being transformed, something is changing at the roots. I do think I keep going back to for someone here, there is a strong pull on doing ancestral work, working with ancestral karma, maybe closing that down. Okay, or you may be being called into a leadership role for that, and that's just come up. But this is a new day, it's something fresh, okay? And you start with that freshness by knowing you're sacred. Every single part of you is sacred. You're sacred. Okay, I'm going to end it there. Okay, if you enjoyed it, please drop a comment. Let me know what element you picked. Well, you obviously picked Earth, but I won't know that when I. Whoops, my glasses fell off. I'm rambling. Yeah, if you enjoyed it, leave me a comment. Tell me what you enjoyed about it. Okay, just say hi if you want. It'd be nice to hear from you all. And it helps the algorithm, it gets it out to more people. Like, subscribe if you haven't already, and thank you if you have already. And I do readings. I do tarot readings, oracle readings. I read for lunations. I do that via tarot alone or tarot and astrology, where we can work out how you can work with the moon according to your birth chart. I do birth chart readings. I also do soul path and shadow readings. So if you're interested in any of that, pop along to www.soulsymbols.co.uk, and it's easy book and very reasonable prices. Okay. All right. I'll see you in the next one. Lots of love to you all. Bye bye.